Hi, my name is Maria Clark, and I am here today with Lisa Hui, a pretend student. And today we're going to do a tax process demonstration for international students and scholars for 2024 returns. So let's review really quickly how the tax process works with North. First step, if you're here, you've already done it. You've requested a free membership. Just a reminder, you need to use your school, nonprofit, or government email to request that membership. Otherwise, your membership will be denied. Once you've got your membership, you can go to the Learn tab. That's a suggestion for first-time filers. Hopefully you've seen the tax orientation presentation over there. If not, this is a great time to go do that really quick. Once you're through with that, you get ready, gather your income documents, confirm you're in scope, and then do your taxes. Create a personalized guide, and then prepare and file your return. And you can get assistance throughout the process as you need it. So let's talk about Lisa. Lisa is a made-up student. She doesn't really exist, but she is a typical example of like what we might see at one of our clinics, and represents something similar to what many students have as their experience here in the U.S. She is an F1 student from China. We've said that she arrived here in the U.S. in August 1st of 2022. And then she went home for the summer in 2023, from May 31st to August 31st. For our purposes, she lived off campus and worked on campus during 2024. She filed a tax return last year with us. She had a W-2 that showed she paid some tax, both federal and in Minnesota. Then she filed her returns with us. She got her treaty and she got a refund there. She filed her Minnesota returns and it did not go quite so well. She had to pay a little bit of tax. And then she's studying here at the University of Minnesota. She's learning accounting, of course, and this is the contact information for her school. And here's her very creative passport, social security number, and date of birth. And so that's the kind of information, of course, you know that about your individual situation, but that's the sort of background information we're going to need when we get ready to go into the return. So we need to gather our income documents. So a couple words about that first. Number one, right? These income documents are going to be given to you by the organization that gave you the money, right? You're not going to prepare an income document. Somebody else is going to give it to you. And they give it to you, but they also send a copy to the tax authorities. And so when you file, the tax authorities, the IRS or the state, they match the information. Like, what did you say? What did the organization say? Some of the most common forms we have are a W-2 form, which reports wages that you earn while working as an employee. And the organizations had to provide those to you by January 31st, 2025. Remember, that covers the entire year of wages that you earn for that organization. And so they have to provide it after the year ends. For a 1042-S form, this reports income for a non-resident alien that has special tax treatment. The most common types of 1042-S forms we see are for scholarships or fellowships or for treaty-exempt wages. They do cover, though, some other types of income, even though they aren't very common. This form has a different filing deadline. It is actually, they have to provide it to you by March 15th, 2025. So there is a bit of a delay sometimes in getting those forms. And also, often these forms are only provided on paper, sometimes electronically, but often also only on paper. We have more information about many other types of income documents on our Get Ready page. So if you have something else and you're not sure what it is, go over to that page and you should be able to find it on the list. All right, well, Lisa has a document. She has a 1042-S, so it is now pretend time after March 15th. She got her 1042-S, and it says income code 20 in box number 1, and then gross income of $5,000 in box number 2. So those are two of the most important boxes there. And then we look at it. She also does not have anything in box number 7A or 10, where sometimes people will have a number, and those would also be very important. Beyond that 1042-S, she also has a W-2. So she was working an imaginary job at the University of Minnesota. And so she earned about $8,400. And then she had some federal and some state tax withheld from her paycheck. And so the university sent her this form to say, this was your total wages, here's how much was taken out. And remember, that tax that's taken out, that is not an actual calculation of the tax. is just an estimate of the tax. And we'll do the actual calculation when we prepare her tax returns. All right, so before we get going, one last thing we're going to do is confirm that her return is in scope. This is the scope list. It's on the Get Ready pages as well. Basically, there are some hard limits, like the income limit for the software. If your income is over $84,000, we can't do it. We support quite a few states, but not every state. The software does them all, so you're welcome to use the software. You can prepare any state that you need. But we may or may not have all of the guides to give you very detailed information. So use the personalized guide if it's there. Otherwise, the software will support you, and you can go to that state's Department of Revenue to look up some additional information if you need it. We also support a lot of treaty benefits, but we don't do anything for income other than wages, scholarships, and capital gains. So treaty benefits for those we do, anything else we don't. We also don't support self-employment income if you work as an independent contractor, income earned outside the United States, amended returns, prior year, so 2023 or sooner returns. Our software only does 2024. And then we also don't support crypto or any other digital assets. Now, for several of those things, such as the employment income and the crypto, for example, but not all, but just for example, the software will still do those returns with that information in it. So unfortunately, that's just outside of the scope for our program. The IRS puts some limits on things. So we can't tell you how to do it, but the software may very well be able to do it. And if you ask, we'll probably send you to some reference materials that can also be found by you on sources such as the irs.gov. All right. For Lisa, it's super simple, right? She basically has wages, a 1042-S, and a W-2. So her next step is going to be to create her personalized guide. So if we look at it, this is the NoRTH members page. We're going to go to the Do Your Taxes page, and then we're going to click on the personalized guide. So let's go do that. Here we are. So right here is the personalized guide. Let's do it. I'm going to make this bigger so you can see it. Basically, it's an interview. We're going to answer some questions. We're going to give it some information, and it's going to help us figure out how to do her taxes. So we're going to start with a very important question. Are you a citizen? She is not, so we're going to say no. She is a citizen of China. She lived in China before she came to the United States, so that's the country of her tax residency. If you lived in a different state than your citizenship, that could very well be the case, and that would make your tax residency that other state. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to email us, and we can help you figure that out. All right, the next thing that we need to do is enter her travel and visa history. So that will determine her federal tax residency status, and which is going to determine a lot of things about her taxes and what kind of treaty benefits she might be able to take advantage of. All right, there we go. You don't have to have an exit for the last one. You can just say, yep, I've been here in the United States ever since August 31st, 2023. It confirms that she's a non-resident alien, and off we go. She is a single lady. She is not married. She does have a social security number. All right, if she didn't have any income, we could click this button here, and if she needed to fill out a form 8843, the personalized guide would kind of jump us over into that process, and we could ask some additional questions and help fill out that form for her. But Lisa does have income documents, right? She had a W-2, and then she had a 1042-S, and this was where that box 1 is important. Her box 1 was code 20, so we're going to click on those. And now we find out, okay, we need to check our treaty benefits. And the reason why we're going to enter the information here is that because she's eligible for a treaty benefit, we want to make sure that she claims the maximum amount, right? We don't need to pay extra taxes. And so we need to know if we have to give her some special instructions about adjustments that she needs to make. So we're going to enter her income documents here, just the type of it and the amount. And then we will get special instructions if we need them, or whatever instructions we need from the personalized guide. All right. Did you give money to a charity? Nope, she did not. Did she have any payments on a student loan? Nope, she did not. Did she file a tax return? Yes, she did. During the year, did you get a refund from the state income tax? No, remember, she had a terrible day in our tax clinic. She had to pay some additional state, so we're going to say yes here. All right. Now we need to know where she was, right? We have guides for some of the states. We need to know if we should give her one of those guides. And she was going to be in Minnesota all of last year. If she was in multiple states, she could select those. Now, states have residency tests just like the federal government has a residency test. And sometimes it is based on how many days you're physically present in a state. Other times it can be based on a tax residency or other factors. So for Minnesota, it matters how many days you're physically present there. So we put that here. And because she was only in Minnesota, it's very easy. If she had had an internship like out in California or somewhere, we would have to say that she was in those two states and had income from them, and then put the days of where she was during the year. But she's got an easy job this year. All right, now it's going to ask about special Minnesota questions. Was where you lived and an abode? An abode is a residence suitable for year-round use because it does get cold in Minnesota, that has its own cooking and bathing facilities. So like an apartment, whereas a dorm room that doesn't have its own bathroom or kitchen maybe would not qualify. She lived in an apartment, so she's going to say yes for all year. That was her situation. Did she receive a certificate of rent? Yes, she did. That's a document that just says this is how much rent she paid. Statement of property taxes payable, that's usually if you own a place, and she did not. And she did not receive one of these as well. Has she ever filed a return? Yes. But has she moved? No. All right. There we go. And that is all of her questions. We click the button, and we're going to wait and let the software do its thing. All right, there we go. Okay, so if we come back to here really quick, I'm not going to go back into the screen, right? We've created her personalized guide, and now we are going to prepare her tax return. So on that very same page, in the member home pages, we're going to go back to do accessing the software. So we can just go back. Oop, I went the wrong way. We're going to go back there. And we're going to click here to access the software. All right. And the way that the guide is set up to work is it's really kind of set up to do a split screen. So if we do this, we've got a personalized guide table of contents, kind of lets you know where things start. We also put like your information in there. So based on like her days, we'll do some day counts for how many days she was in the United States, and then we'll put those in that blue box so you know exactly what number to enter. I wish TaxSlayer was really smart. It is not really smart. That's why we give you a lot of help here, because you can make it say anything that you want to, but it's your responsibility to create a proper return that's accurate and true. We are here to assist you with that. You know, we would always encourage you to make an office hours appointment or come to a clinic and have somebody review your return before you send it in, just to make sure that it's right. This is the scope. We've already done that. All right, and this should be a familiar page. We click there and we clicked on that get started, and now we're basically matching everything. So you can create an account if you haven't used it before, or if you've done it before, you can log back in, which I am going to do. I'm going to log in, and it sends me a security code every time. So I will enter that in. There we go. All right, and then it asks for your password. I will endeavor to keep up here. This is kind of showing creating an account. All right, and get started. So I have been into TaxSlayer before to practice the demo, and so the first few pages might not be quite identical just because I was in previously, but we're going to try to get started here and find where they match up. So we can see we've got the 2024 American Pledge there in the upper right left-hand corner. That is very important. That means you're on the free version, which you really want to be on. If it says 2024 Simply Free, it is not Simply Free. It is the wrong version. If that happens, send us an email. We can help connect you so that you're going to get onto the free version here. All right, let's keep going. This is stuff from last year. Get started, keep going. All right. They changed the format a little bit here, but we're going to skip that. We're going to go straight into, oh, there it was, straight into entering the information. All right, so this is Lisa. We're going to go here. We're going to do a fake social security number, which is not a real one and can't be filed. Her date of birth was April 15th, 2004, and she is a student. Let's say F1 student. Putting your visa type is great for that. We continue. All right, double check to make sure everything is right. We're good. Continue. All right, we're going to put her address here. I was in here before, that's why it's showing 55455 in Minnesota, and we're going to say part-year resident. Now, that might not be true. It probably is not true, but by doing part-year resident here, that like sets up the software to ask about your residency later. And we'll have the information to enter it later, but that just kind of makes everything work properly for the personalized guide and the software. So it's not a permanent choice, it's a temporary choice to get us to the map where we'll choose our state and our residency. All right, we're going to enter anything here that applies. Lisa was over 18 and a full-time student. She doesn't have any of these things, no crypto, no anything like that. So we're going to continue. All right, now the most important one. We want to say non-resident alien because she is a non-resident alien. If you say single, it'll kick you over into the resident side and you can't get back to this. You've got to delete and start over again. But we're going to say non-resident, right? And she is single. Remember, married is married. Doesn't matter where your spouse is. So if you're married, say that you're married. Okay, she's going to say no to dependents. And she doesn't have a PIN, so we're going to say no here as well. All right, so you've seen kind of how the guide works. So just to make it a little bit more visible, I am going to take the guide off screen and make the tax software big so that you can see everything easily. And I will be kind of following along in my guide here to make sure that I've entered everything properly. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you can see it all. Okay. All right, so the next step for the guide is this page, which is not mandatory. We're going to skip that one. And let's move on to continue. Sure, we'll continue. All right, we're going to say, I don't know which forms I need, which is just easiest. That way it doesn't ask you a bunch of additional questions during the return process and afterwards. All right, we are good. We are ready to start doing some basic information here. We're going to enter her personal information. We're going to go 1040 NR Schedule OI, general information. Okay, and we're going to select. So again, I will leave this in here. I'm going to leave it in there. So it kind of shows you a little bit about how it looks when you enter your information, right? Because it shows that you are an individual, and we know that she is a citizen of China, and her country of residency is China because that's what she entered earlier. We're going to say other not listed. She's a non-immigrant visa, F1. All right. We would check if any of those apply, but they don't. All right, and we have our math done for us, 366, 274, 153. All right, she did file last year, remember? So we have to check that box, 2023, 1040 NR. All right, these things don't apply. Yep, we don't want her refund sent somewhere else in the world. She wants it here in the US if it happens. We're not going to do those, so we just continue. Okay. All right, now we go to the next one. Dates entered and departed. Ah, super easy. She just has one that she's going to have to enter. 1/1/2024. If there were more, they would kind of show up here as all of those visits. All right. And then we continue. And continue again. And continue again. All right, so we're back to the main page. Okay. Federal section, we're there. Let's go to miscellaneous forms. Aliens exempt. All right, so should be filled out. Okay, we're going to enter. So this is the date, her most recent date of entry in the tax year or sooner. So we cannot put a 2025 date in here. This has got to be 2024 or earlier. And for Lisa, it is 2023. All right, she's an F1, China. All right, her very creative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 passport. Those are all entered and correct. We're going to put 366 there. Okay, continue. Okay, part 3, students. All right. Okay, so we didn't have any information here, but if you have a school membership and your school people told us about you, then we may have some information here kind of put into these blue boxes so that you can enter it. But I've got it from her information, so I'm going to just type it here. So University of Minnesota, 626-7100. 301 19th Avenue, 55455. That's their International Student Services group. Megan is our contact. Same address. All right, there we go. Okay, so and that's basically the IRS needed to call to find out, you were really a student here. Somebody in the International Student Services or whatever your group is called, they would be able to verify that you really were a student or a teacher or researcher here at that organization. Okay. All right. So answer yes or no, but she was not. She was not. Okay. And then our little table here. So 18, 19, 20, 21 are all no's. 2022 is yes, right? That's when she first came with her F1 visa, but she didn't change. Same for 2023. She was here, she had an F1 visa, but there was no change. And then we continue. And then we continue again. And we continue again. And we're back. Okay. Next, we're going to go to entering wage income. All right, so we go to federal. We're going to go to the W-2 right here. Remember, she had a W-2 form. And her information, her employer ID number, as we enter it. So one thing that's kind of very important, right? We're going to just enter the information that's on the form, like whatever it is. It's okay if the address is different. It is kind of what it is at this point. And that's all right. The main things that really need to be matching are the social security number. Your name would be also important to have match, but the most important thing is really that social security number. And we're going to start with the employer identification number, which is basically like a business social security number. 513. All right, that is the University of Minnesota. I'm going to do that same 301. All right, I'm obviously doing this from memory or whatever I had for my made up scenario. You're going to just put again what was ever on your form. All right, there we go. Okay, and we're going to just copy that information, put whatever is here. So I'm going to go back. Let's see if we can go find her income document again really quick. Income documents. There we go. All right, 8,400, 840, 449. So she had $8,400 in box 1, 840 withheld. The other boxes were all blank. Totally fine. If you have boxes here and you're a non-resident on an F1 or J1 visa, that's Social Security and Medicare taxes, you're actually not required to pay those. And so if you reach out to us at your member email, we can help you through the process of getting a refund. That refund is like entirely separate from your income tax return, but we can help you with it if you would like. Okay, we're going to go down to the state. Make sure you always enter the state. enter the state information. It copied over the state wages, but you should double check to make sure that is the same that's on your forms, and then enter your state income tax. That was already been taken out. There we go. All right. We don't have an empty W-2. Sometimes, usually when there's some treaty shenanigans going on, people will have a W-2 that has nothing in box number 1. If that happens, you can just put a 1 in that box 1 so that the software can process it. But we don't, we're all good. We don't need to change things. We're going to just continue. All right, and we're back here at the main page once more. We're going to be on federal. We're going to do payments and estimates. Okay. We're going to scroll down to find partners information. That is not the right one. Foreign person. There we go. All right. Okay, same thing again, right? We're going to be entering the information that's provided. This form has a lot of boxes in them, and not all of them are required. So if you've got information that's, if you don't have information, that is okay. You can generally skip over it. Just look at this list and make sure that you've got information for any of those red boxes. So for Lisa, her information here was this. I'm going to make this one up. All right, her exemption code was 4 because it was a treaty. Her income code was 20, remember, which is compensation during studying and training. So she was working while she was studying, and that's where that came from. And her total income, which is box number 2, is $5,000. And she doesn't have anything in those other boxes. You can see there's a bunch of other boxes. Sometimes they get the names mixed up, right? Status code versus exemption code. It really is status code, but we'll just take whatever it is and put it in there. But it's not necessarily required until we get down to here, where we have to say that the person who received the money, Lisa, she is an individual. All right, keep on going down. If there was any information, we would enter it here. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff, but for us, she doesn't have anything there. We don't have to enter it. And there we go. All right. We're back once more to the main page. Okay, here's her treaty benefits analysis. So as a student from China, Lisa gets $5,000 of wages that she doesn't have to pay income tax on. So she had a total of $13,400 that she earned. $5,000 she won't pay tax on, and then the other $8,400 she's going to have to pay tax. So we need to enter the information about her treaty benefit. So we go to basic information at the top, back into the 1040 NR. Now we're going to do this income exempt from tax. Okay, and we're going to say China 20C. All right. She claimed her tax treaty. So she filed last year and she claimed her treaty. So we're going to put 12. All right, and her exempt income amount is that $5,000. There we go. All right. Continue and continue. All right, and we continue. And we're back to the main page one more time. All right. Okay, so she had to pay some extra tax. That was one of the things that she entered. So we've got some instructions about how to enter that because that's going to reduce the amount of tax that she owes. So I already wrote it down for you kind of on her information, but if she was trying to figure it out herself, she would go to her state tax forms from last year and find the line that says amount that you owe, amount that she actually paid. So it's got to be the amount that she actually paid, not just what it says on the return. So if she didn't pay, then it doesn't count. But everything that she actually paid in 2024, that was extra state tax, we can count that. So we're going to go to deductions and then itemize deductions, taxes you paid. All right, and we're going to enter the amount here. Yep, so it's already got her information from her W-2. We don't have to do that again. We don't want to do that again, but she owed an additional $107. So she paid that. We are going to include it for sure. Get her a little money off on her taxes. and continue, and continue. All right, back to the main page. All right, and that is her federal return. So I'm going to go through her Minnesota return because a state return is a part of a lot of our customers, our clients' tax returns, and Minnesota is our most common state. If you are from a different state that we support, your sheet or your personalized guide would say Pennsylvania state income tax return or North Carolina or wherever. And if it doesn't, it would say, we're sorry, we can't help you, and give you some recommendations on where to look up a little bit of information to how to do that. All right, so we kind of walk through some basic Minnesota tax information, and we're going to go get started on the state return. So I'm going to click here on the state, and off we go. Let's get started. Okay, so we selected that part year resident, and that took us to this map here. So we can choose Minnesota, and it makes it really easy to get started. So select Minnesota, here we go. All right, we have our residency analysis, right? We said that how many days you're present determines your residency. And based on our entries, Lisa is a full year Minnesota resident. So that makes it easy. We're going to click here. Boop, there we go. All right, we're going to enter the county that she was in. If you don't know the county and you ever need to look it up, you can probably just Google it. Is the easiest way to do it. Enter your address, what county am I in, and you can find it. All right, and then we're going to continue. All right, okay, so we created the return, and now we're going to go yes here to talk about the renter's credit. I'm going to go through this really, really quickly because this won't apply to everybody, but Lisa got a certificate of rent paid. Many students do. Essentially, the name of it changed, the calculation changed a little bit, but the eligibility didn't change. So to be eligible, you have to be a Minnesota part year or full year resident, and you must have provided over half of your own support. So we have some additional tools and some information to help you determine your support. You can look at your U of M student account. You need to look at what are all your expenses, right? How much was education, tuition, fees, that kind of stuff. You need your rent. You need an estimate for food and clothing, and hopefully there's some fun in there as well to find kind of out what your total number is. And usually those numbers get pretty big, right? They can be in the $40,000 to $50,000 range without too much effort. Then you look at your income, right? Where did your income come from? Is it coming from earnings from working as a student or like an internship? Is it coming from scholarships or fellowships? Are you taking out loans? Or is your family providing it? So in this case, I know that Lisa went to the U of M. She's going to have something like $40,000 to $50,000 worth of expenses. I also remember from earlier that she earned $13,400, which is way less than the 50% threshold. And her family is paying the rest of it, which is, fantastic. It's great. There's no tax associated with that. That's wonderful that she's got family that can support her that way. But it does mean that she's not going to be eligible for the Minnesota property tax refund. So I am going to skip over all of those slides really quickly and go right here. And we're back magically here. Let's see if I can make that the proper size. There we go. Okay, so we're going to exit the Minnesota return, continue. All right, so now would be the fun part, right? We are done. We think we're done. This is the perfect time if you want to come see us for like an office hours appointment and we can review your return, right? You can print a copy of the PDF, make sure we look at it. Get ready before you actually send it in, because once you file it, once it's sent in, you can change it, but that's called an amended return, and that's not something that we can really help with. So you want to take just a little extra time to make sure it's right before you send it in. Okay, final steps to filing your return. Yes, that's kind of what I talked about right there. All right, if you filed last year, you're going to need some information from your tax return form. If you came to see us last year and you used TaxSlayer to file, it's going to have that information if you use the same account. It'll copy it over from your last year's return. But if you're new to us, new to TaxSlayer, you're going to need to get your copy of your 2023 returns to get the number there from the line 11, the adjusted gross income, so that you can file. All right, here are some other ways to get that number if you can't find a copy, but make sure you save a copy of this one for next year. If you're gonna get a refund, you can have it directly deposited. If you owe money, you can also have them take it straight out of your bank account. You can also pay with a credit card or debit card, but they do charge extra fees for that. And if you're doing a payment out of your bank account, you can also choose the day that they take the money away. So, and the last day is April 15th, but there's no problem waiting until April 15th for them to take that money out, if you want to do it that way. All right, click to state. We were already there. We will continue. It'll update if there are any errors. There might be some, you can fix it. One error that we are aware of, based on some software limitations, if you are married, you generally will not be able to e-file your state returns. You can e-file your federal return. If that was your situation, we would give you some special notes in your personalized guide about that. If there's a problem, fix it. Again, this is where we can do a lot of help through email especially, but we're here at the same page. Obviously the numbers are different, but that's okay. Oh, look, poor Lisa, she owes $3. Well, it's better than the 107 from last year. So we're gonna make sure she prints a copy, save a copy, just print all like that. Super easy to do. It just downloaded it. Now we've got our copy for next year. We don't have to worry about it. All right, then we would continue. It's gonna give us things. It doesn't like my social security number. So I'm going to bring it over here. I'm gonna put one that is going to let me continue so you can see what it looks like. Continue. Back to here. Let's make sure that it works. All right. Okay, we are back again. Okay, so continue, don't miss out. All right. They would love to have your personal information so they could send you offers, but you do not have to give them that. So say no, thank you. All right, are you ready to file? Yes, I'm ready and I'm done. You would say continue. It's going to ask you about how you want to get your refund. And we have basically sequences of slides for if you get a refund or if you owe, both kind of for the federal and the state. And it kind of walks you through how to do that. So you would say continue, continue. We always suggest direct deposit. You get your money faster, and it doesn't matter if you move because your bank never moves. You would do the same thing for like this. This one's a refund, but we're going to say a payment. We're going to choose direct debit as well, right? Take it straight out of her bank account. And then we would sign and finish. And we would enter some information here. Do we want to put it all into one bank account? We're going to say yes. All right. Fees should be 0. We don't want to split the bank account. All right, there we are. Now we're back up again. We would enter our bank information here. I'm going to say bank. Checking our savings. We're going to say checking. We're going to make up some numbers. Obviously, this is like when you're doing that, this is real numbers, and you really want to make sure these numbers are right. But for our purposes, it doesn't like that one. Here we go. Let's change some numbers, see if that'll make it work. There we go. All right. But you really want to make sure those are your real numbers. All right. We're going to use the bank right there. This is where I said you can pick the date. We would pick 4/15/2025. This is obviously the refund thing here. To try to prevent identity theft, you can enter an ID if you want to. You don't have to, so we're going to be lazy and we won't do that right here. All right. This is where we'd need that historical information, right? This is talking about payments, all that kind of good stuff. All right. ID, payments. we're going to say, yes, we're going to say no. This is going to be easy, right? Don't say no unless it was real. So obviously I'm faking Lisa's information. We would create a PIN number. I'm going to do her zip code. There we go. All right, and so if I click that button, that would actually like really file the return. So you want to make sure that you're ready to do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to back slowly and carefully away from that one. All right, and come back to the demonstration and the slides. So we were basically right here. All right, so that's really kind of taking it through the process. So we click that button and let's go through here. We click that button, we send it off. It sends it off to the IRS first. We would wait. Sometimes it's like 10, 15 minutes. Sometimes it's a couple hours. Usually, almost never is it more than like, certainly not more than a day. Then you'll get an email back from TaxSlayer saying, congratulations, your return was accepted. If there's an issue, it'll say your return was rejected, and it'll give you some sort of a code about like what was wrong. We're really good. Send us an email with those codes. We can help you fix that. If it was accepted, everything is good. They'll send the state off once the federal is out, but usually there's never any problem with the state being accepted as well. And at that point, you're just waiting for your refund to show up or your payment to be taken out. Before you clicked all of that file, just a reminder, like if you did want somebody to take a look at it, go to that page, click on the Get Help, send us an email, make an office hours appointment or make a clinic appointment if you need to. And if we have that in your school, that would be fantastic. We just want to make sure that that return is right before you send it in to the IRS. And that's that. Lisa is done. She's filed. She is hopefully happy. She got at least a little bit of money back. And we will hope to see her next year and see you at one of our events. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.